I'm Erin, the Two Martini Stitcher, both here on YouTube and on Instagram, so you can find me both places. And this is my channel about crafts, mostly cross stitch, almost all cross stitch with a tiny little bit of knitting because I've taken up knitting as of late. But as I like to say here, this is our cross stitch happy hour, so cheers. It is Monday, November 16th, and I've just got, it's late. It is late. We've had dinner. We've cleaned up dinner. It's 9 o'clock, almost 9 o'clock here at night. This is the first chance I've had to record, so I went with a trusty, my good old standby gin and tonic. But I made it special by putting it in my very special Ellen Reed Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour Canada glass. This was gifted to me by her to elevate. She's such a classy lady. We elevate the cross stitch happy hour here with the Canada glass. So cheers. So what's been going on this week? It has been a busy week around here. Lots going on last week. Our new family room furniture was finally delivered. We had ordered it back in August, and it was finally delivered. So the day before it came, we had the junk people come to haul off the old couch because it was broken. That couch was 14 years old, 14 years old, and it was so broken. I would have not given it away for free to like frat boys. There was no giving away. It was the kind of broken that you sit on it and you would sink so far down that the wood frame would like dig into the back of your legs. That's a well-used couch. But we have new furniture now and a new comfy stitchy spot. And yeah, so that was all very exciting, but it meant for a couple busy days, and one evening we had no furniture in there. And I almost didn't know what to do with myself without a stitchy spot. So I went to bed early and I didn't even stitch that day. How do you stitch with no stitchy spot? So I have no finishes this week, but I have a few whips and a little bit of knitting to show, and everything came in the mail last week. So an unreasonable amount of haul and happy mail. So let's just dive in because I am going to be racing against the clock a little bit. Drew, the husband, went to go pick up the youngest at the dance studio, and they're going to come in here and make a bunch of noise in a little bit. So, and I feel like I don't have as many whips to show. So this might be a quick one. Or I might gab a lot. We'll see. Okay. So let's start off. I don't think that I had like any Q&A really. Oh, someone did ask me, even though I'm not talking about knitting yet, someone did ask me how I learned to knit, if there were easy patterns to start with. I seriously am a newbie knitter. I started knitting in August, and I've done 2 projects and I have a couple on the go. So I am no expert whatsoever, other than the fact that I am self-taught in that I didn't take any formal classes. I have since taken a class, an online class on how to do basic knit fixes. I used that knowledge this past week, as you will see. But for learning how to knit, it's all YouTube tutorials. I will say Caroline, our very own Caroline Off the Grid Needle Arts, has a playlist on her channel called Let's Teach Ginger Gerald How to Knit, or something along those lines. And it is a wonderful series of videos. She is, she's Caroline. She has the most calming voice. She explains things in a very, very clear manner. And she starts out with like knitting a dishcloth. I did not start with knitting a dishcloth because my very first project was a very specific project I wanted to do. So I just jumped in with that. But she kind of steps you through, and I did use a lot of her tutorials on things of like how to do a long tail cast on, how to do a knit two together or a knit front back. So I would say Caroline, but other than that, I just type into the YouTube search bar what I need to know. So if there's something on a pattern that I don't know, I literally type in knitting and whatever it is I don't know. And there's always Very Pink Knits almost always comes up as like the top video. And she has just an unbelievable amount of knitting tutorials. So if you have been inspired to get into knitting as well by all of the Flosstubers in the community that are multi-craftual, YouTube, you can learn anything on YouTube. It's true. It is a true fact. But I think that's the only question I had. So other than that, we're going to jump in on whips for this week. So this week, my full coverage project for the week, I have, if you're new here, I have 2 full coverage. First of all, if you're new, a whip is a work in progress. So I don't have any finishes this week. I didn't finish any of my projects. So now I'm going to show you all the works in progress that I worked on the past week. We're not going to talk about how many I have, but I have 2 full coverage projects and I rotate them in and out on a weekly basis. So I work on one for a week and then I work on the next one for a week. This week it was Farewell to Anger's turn. This is what it will look like when finished. It's just the regular chart. It's not supersize. It's not quick stitch. It's not max color. It's just the regular Heaven and Earth Designs charted Farewell to Anger. And I got a decent amount of work on this. I used this for Semi-Stained Stitchers Connect 4. My theme that I'm connecting all 4 to is trees. I'm doing the seine level, which is 500 stitches. So I got about 600 in this, and that completed out this diagonal for me. So this is where I am. You can see I brought this diagonal a little further down than I brought that one, just because I'm getting further away from the edge now, so I was able to bring it down. And so I will probably continue to do that. I'll bring it down as far as I can, which means these will be a little scattered. These edges will be a little scattered, but I actually think that might be a good thing for not having a clean, crisp line. So I finished that diagonal. When I come back to it, I'll start back up here. So most of these are parked over in the next diagonal I'm going to do. So there we go. I'm stitching this on 25 count, easy grid, easy count, pre-gridded Lugana. I'm stitching it 1/1 full cross with the called for DMC. My grime guard is from Garan Totem Bags. I think they might just be Garan Stitchery now. I will link their shop below. They have amazing, my bag, I keep it in a Garan bag as well. That matches, because you know, you gotta be matchy. And I love them. And the needle minders, I'm not positive. They're either from, I think this might be from Abby Topknot, but that might be from Space Cat Crafting. Not sure. Look at me telling you all the things today. I sometimes forget those. And everything will be in the show notes. If I talk about it, I will link it in the show notes. There will also be a link there to my spreadsheet that has all the information on all of my whips. So if I forget to tell you what fabric or floss I'm using and you're curious, you can go check out my spreadsheet. Okay, next project I worked on is Hello Dear, and I don't have printed out a current picture. So I will put a picture. It is a mystery stitch along. So we didn't know what it looked like. It's by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. Sally sent me this kit so that I could stitch along and share my progress with all of you. So we didn't know what it looks like. It's being released in 5 parts and 4 have been released. So I will put a picture of what it has been released so far. So what we know it's going to look like. I will put that right here. So that's what it looks like. I work on this pretty much every day. I think there was just maybe one day I didn't, but otherwise this is the first thing I work on. I used it again for some challenges in Stitcher Quarries, and this is where I am. So I am working on part 3. So part 4 has been released, which is the rest of the tree down here and the deer. The cutest deer. It's the cutest deer. But I'm still working up on this bunny. It's a lot of stitching. The bunny is, but he's gonna be I think it's a she. She has a little flower in her hair. But so cute. So I'm making good progress on this still. I mean, I'm not caught up, but I knew I wasn't gonna stay totally caught up, but I like making daily progress on this. So I'm gonna continue to use it for prompts in semi-sane Stitcher Quarries where I can. So that is Hello Dear, and then I'll get some more work on it this week. And then last week I had spun my wheel to pick my small, medium, and large project for the week. And so I worked on all of those. So the small project I spun was Souvenirs of the Heart Star Spangled Spectacular. And I worked on this during our meetup. On Wednesday, we had a little Zoom stitching meetup with the channel members. So my channel is open to join. You can join. There's a join button below. It's kind of right in the banner. Sometimes people ask me where it is, but it's right in the banner where it'll say To More Teeny Stitcher, and there'll be a blue join button. And if you click on that, it'll give you all the information. But I worked on this. I worked on Hello Dear for a little bit. We chatted for a long time on Wednesday. I think we were just having so much fun. And then I also worked on this that day because my small projects get one day. They just get one day of work. So here is where I got to, which all I did was the roof part of, which I didn't even finish the full roof. I am stitching this on 28 count. It was bone Lugana, but I coffee tea dyed it to darken it up. And I'm stitching it, the pattern calls for it to be stitched 1/1 on 28 count. So I am doing that. And I think that's why it just never looks like much progress. Like you're stitching and stitching, and you're like, why does this not look like anything? But it's so tiny and cute. So that is where I got to on the one day of Souvenirs of the Heart. So that got one day. Now it goes back until it gets spun again. My medium project, which gets 2 days worth of work, or it's supposed to. I think it might have only gotten one. I'm not entirely positive. But I spun The Gather In by Plum Street Samplers. This came in our retreat kit for the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. So it's exclusive for a year, but I would think it'll be released this time next year. So, but I worked on that. Maybe I did work on this. I know I used it for a prompt, so it got a good amount of stitching on it, even if it just was one day. And this is where I got to. So I had the GATH and part of this sunflower in. And so I put in a little bit more words, and then I started in on that big old barn. And I was trying to decide, when I first saw the chart at the Stitch Summit, I thought, oh, that's a big old barn and a lot of grass. I love it so much. I'm so excited by this design. But I immediately thought, I'm going to stitch all that grass with 2 strands 10 stitch. Like I'm not full crossing all that grass. And then I heard Michelle Garrett, Bendy Stitchy, say that she was going to do, her plan is to do the entire barn 2 strands and 10 stitch too, to make it go faster. And I thought about it as I was starting the barn, but I decided to go ahead and do the full cross. Since it's the focal point, really, I decided to do that full cross, but the grass will be 10 stitched. So I got started on the barn. So I got the chimney in and the roof line up here and up here, and then I started a little bit of the fill-in. So, and this I'm doing all called for. This is Graham Cracker Fabrics, which is Teresa Kitten Stitcher, Teresa Vinette's of Shakespeare Peddlers. It's her son's linen. He's dyeing linen, Graham. But I'm gonna mute that so we don't hear my notifications. Okay. So this is Graham Cracker Fabrics, 36 count, and stitching with 1 strand, and all the called for flosses, because that's what came in the kit. So that was gather in. And then the large project that I spun was, and I loved working on this, guys, was the Zimmerman coverlet by Modern Folk Embroidery. Gorgeous, right? I am not stitching it like this. So it is, when you buy this from Modern Folk Embroidery, it is 1 repeat is what you get. You get the chart of 1 repeat. The mock-up is the pattern stitched 3 times to give it this look, which is beautiful. I, however, am doing something a little different with it. I am doing this motif right here, and then this side border, and I'm going to make it into a drum. And it's going to be a huge drum, and I'm so excited about it. So this got 3 days worth of work, and I am stitching this on color and cotton linen. It is a 36 count color and cotton, and it was the August fabric of the month, which was a special edition unnamed fabric, but it's color and cotton August 2020 fabric of the month. And here is where I got to on that. I really just had like a little bit of this done. So I added in all this and started on one of those flowers and did all these swirls. And I am stitching it in Gloriana Rosewood because I decided, you know, if this is a stitch along, there is a stitch along for this. It's hashtag Zimmerman Coverlet Sal. You can absolutely still join in. The awesome thing is, so this was inspired by a family woven coverlet that belongs to Ellen Reed's family, Maximum Cross Stitch Power Hour, here on Flosstube. I'll link her below. Her family has a heirloom coverlet, and she had shared it on Instagram, and Jakob of Modern Folk Embroidery wanted to chart it. And part of the sale of the chart is going to a family shelter in Toronto, I'm pretty sure. So you can still get in on it. Go, I will link to the pattern where you can purchase it below, and you can join in on the Zimmerman coverlet sale, because let's face it, I'm at least going to be stitching it for a very long time. But it's going to be gorgeous. So, and that got over 500 stitches in it over the 3 days. So I felt really good about that progress. And that should have been all that I worked on last week. Actually, that's not true. I should have on the 12th worked on Crosses of the Kingdom, because that's the day that I typically try to work on Crosses of the Kingdom the 12th of every month. I just full on forgot it was the 12th and forgot to do it. I was off somewhere last week. Like last week, Monday felt like Tuesday. Tuesday felt like Tuesday. I think Wednesday felt like Tuesday. Thursday, I had no idea what day it was. I was all discombobulated last week, and I just full on forgot to stitch Crosses of the Kingdom. Oh well. I ended up actually putting all that stuff on my wheel, so it may come up. However, I did have another sneaky little whip slide its way in, mainly to fulfill a category for Stitchergories, and that is Whip It Good by Heartstring Samplery. I needed to find something in one of my whips that you would find in school and started with an S. And I just didn't have that on any of the whips I was working on, but this has some really cute little scissors. So I put 250 stitches into Whip It Good, and this is my progress. So I'm stitching this on an 18 count Aida from Bestitch Me in maroon with 1 strand of sulky white. I think it's, so I'm using, it is, numbers on here somewhere, right? I thought it was, maybe not. Maybe it's bright white. It's their bright white. Not their off-white, not their ecru. It's their bright white for sulky. So there we go. So I put in this little motif here, this one here, and started up here. So there we go. And that's by Heartstring Samplery. And I think the only place you can get that is as a PDF on her website. I'm not entirely positive. You might be able to get it at your LNS too. So Whip It Good by Heartstring Samplery. So that is all of the whips I had last week. Cross stitch, knitting. What did I have for knitting? Okay, well first, on Tuesday of last week and tomorrow, I am taking a knitting class. See, I said I was self-taught, but now I'm finding knitting classes. So I took a class that was associated with the Rhinebeck Wool and Fiber Festival on basic knit fixes, like how to fix mistakes in your knitting. Because I was finding, even though I'm self-taught, was if something went sideways on me, I had no idea how to fix it. And I didn't really know how to read my knitting really well. So Annie, Joyful Stitcher, had found this online workshop and she was attending and thought it was something I might like. Yep, she knows me well. So we took that class. It was fantastic. And the instructor, of course, and I started following her on Instagram and such. She is called the Devious Knitter. Let me see if I have, did I print the, nope, sure didn't print the cover page for this class. She does give us a pattern, although we don't really need it. So this is her, the Devious Knitter. Her name's Amy Snell. I started following her and she is doing a 3-part class on making an ornament stocking. So during the class, we're making a little ornament stocking, and in the process, we're essentially learning how to knit socks. So that was last Tuesday was the first class, tomorrow will be the second, and then next week will be the third. And there was a little class kit that you could buy if you didn't have, you know, stuff in your stash. So I bought the little class kit with it's worsted weight. I think it's worsted weight yarn from Tina's Toasty Toes. Yes, it's worsted weight, and it's 100% Peruvian Highland wool. So this is what we're using. And last week we learned the Judy's Magic cast on. So there's an invisible, and we started stitching it toe up. So we learned the cast on and the toe increases. And then I learned how to change colors because I had never done that before. And then we've done the foot. So there is the toe of my stocking, and it went really well. I think have a little bit of a tension issue. I don't know if you can see. That side looks really good, but this side is a little loose. And I think it's just going to take practice because I'm doing magic loops. She's teaching you however you want to do it. So she's teaching, you can use either double pointed needles, 2 short circulars, or 1 long for magic loop. So I think it's just a matter of learning to pull that round together. But other than that little bit, I mean, this is not a sock anybody's going to wear. So I think it looks pretty good. And the class was really fun. So tomorrow I'm very excited because we're going to turn the heel. We're going to make a heel, which is what I think, not scares me, but it's the part of socks that looks like sorcery to me. I don't I don't understand how that works. So, and I am the type of person who I learn best by seeing things. So she did give us a written pattern. So we do have a written pattern, but I can read those and I can't really picture what's happening. And so that's why I think watching YouTube videos is really helpful, but having her saying what we're doing, I have it written down, and then she's showing it on the Zoom is super helpful to me. So I'm sure that once I see it, it's going to make perfect sense. But in the meantime, until tomorrow night, turning a heel looks like sorcery to me. I'm very excited to try it out tomorrow. Keep your fingers crossed for me. Okay. The other knitting project that I worked on was I worked on the shawl that I am making for my grandmother for Christmas. Hopefully it will be done. And it is the Blue Jean Saturday by OC Knitiot Designs. So, I mean, it's black and white, but that's what it's gonna look like. And this is where I used my basic knit fixes. I will show you where I got to, and then I'll tell you what happened. But it's all fine now. You'll see, it's all fine. So this is where I am. I finished this whole, so you can see where I was last week when I saw you. I had just finished this garter stitch section, and I finished out this whole lace section, which I was hoping would not take me that long, but I just finished it yesterday. So I had put a lifeline in at the end of the garter section, and I started the lace section, and the first like lace row and knit row went well, and then I did the next one and something was off. And I tried to tink back because I did learn how to do that, but that's hard on lace, and I'm clearly not experienced enough at that, and it was not, I wasn't sure that I was doing it right with the yarn overs and such. So I decided, since I was just a couple rows in, that's why I put a lifeline in, right? So no big deal. I ripped back to my lifeline. I picked all those stitches back up on my needle, and off I went. For a hot second, I thought that I still was off, but it was fine. So I got the rest of this lace section in, and it came out great, and it looks so nice. See, let me see that. It's gonna look great once it's all blocked out. So now, I mean, and it's really looking like something, right? It's really looking like something. This is really great. And I am knitting this with sock weight Malabrigo yarn. Malabrigo? I think I'm saying that correctly, in the colorway Jupiter. So I have to do another garter section, another lace section, and then like 5 garter stitch rows and bind off. So I'm getting close. Like I think it should be done by the 1st of December. So I really had wanted to get back to my lentilla shawl last week after I did the lace section. My thought was, I'll do the lace section and then I'll work on my lentilla until I film again, and then I'll go back and start the garter section and do the garter section. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a ruffle or 2 in on the lentilla, and then I'm going to come back and I'll work the garter section. And I might even, as these get longer and longer, I'm not gonna lie, the garter section gets a little boring. I don't have a very big attention span. So it might be that I do like 4 or 5 rows on here, and then I do a ruffle on the lentilla, and then I'll come back to this, but it's looking really good. Like, I'm really proud of this. There are definitely mistakes in it. That first lace section did not go as planned, and I decided to leave it. Like, that one's not quite right, but it looks okay. I fixed some drop stitches around here that when I picked them back up, I think I twisted one the wrong way. It's fine. Because it's made with love. And my progress keeper is from Fangirl Fibers. Sweater weather. So I'm going to move that up. And hopefully when I see you next week, I will have finished the garter the last full garter section. That'd be exciting, huh? I need to put another lifeline in before I start that. That's another thing I need to do because I'm learning proactive lifeline. They are a very good thing, especially if you're a newer knitter like me. Okay, so that is the knitting whips. Plans for this week. So I guess I already jumped into plans. Those are my knitting plans. Work on my lentilla a little bit, take my sock class, and then I think once my sock class is done, maybe before that, I do have another project that I am very excited to cast on. I know what my next cast on project is going to be. So who knows, if I feel the urge to do that this week, that might happen too. We'll see. So those are knitting plans, cross stitch plans. I accidentally got a piece of ice. I don't want to crunch it because that's annoying. So I'm just going to let that little ice chip melt. Cross stitch plans are the full coverage project I'm going to be working on this week is Harry Potter book covers. So that'll come back out. And then on Wednesday, for things that are my regularly scheduled, well, let's see I think they're on my wheel. So let's spin the wheels first, and then I'll talk about what else is going in the mix. So I brought over my tablet with all my decision wheels on it, and we'll start with the small. So the small project I'm going to work on this week is going to be, it'll get 1 day of work. Star Spangled Spectacular. No, I just did that last week. I also have full override privileges. I just did that one last week. I can't believe it spun it again. Ooh, Holiday Hoopla. That's great because it's my it's the Thanksgiving Holiday Hoopla. Gosh, I feel like if I push on that, I could finish it in a day. That'd be exciting, and then it would be ready for Thanksgiving. Yay! Okay, so Holiday Hoopla is going to be my small. My medium is going to be, let's see, Welcome Foolish Mortals. That's funny because we just finished Halloween, but I'm all for Halloween 365. So bring on Welcome Foolish Mortals. And then my large project, I'm hoping fits into the theme of trees. If it does not, we might respin. Emily's house, does that have a tree on it? I feel like that doesn't have a tree on it. I'm going to spin again. I love you, Emily's house, but you've gotten some good work this year, so I'm okay with that. Oh, Touching the Autumn Sky. Oh, but I already worked on that this month. Oh, y'all. I clearly don't have this set to non-repeats. Seeking Refuge. Seeking Refuge has a tree. Okay, third time's a charm. We're going to work on Seeking Refuge. So the large project is going to be Seeking Refuge. So we're going to do Thanksgiving Holiday Hoopla, Welcome Foolish Mortals, and Seeking Refuge. That's a good mix. That's a good mix of projects there. Okay, so that means also Wednesday is the 18th, and I work on Stars Bright on the 18th. So I'll work on Stars Bright on the 18th, and then Thursday is Holly and Heart's birthday. And I typically work on a whip on its birthday to make sure that I touch everything at least once a year and that I still want to work on it. So I'm actually going to skip over Holly and Hearts because in December plans, I don't know if you all saw, Black Needle Society is doing a 12 days of stitching challenge. Like there's nothing to buy. It's just a fun challenge that they're doing. I will put the graphic in right here. So that's what you're looking for. Go to their Instagram, which I will have linked below, and you can check it out. They're going to be working on 12 whips and or new starts. in the 24 days, the first 24 days of December, and they have some kind of fun little ideas of things that you can try to find in your whips. And so I'm in. Just about any stitching challenge. You know, you guys know me. I'm in. Give me a theme and a challenge, I will be there. So Holly and Hearts will get worked on in December. There is also, and I totally don't remember whose idea it was. I heard about it from Michelle Garrett Bendy Stitchy. And it was something about finale 2020. I don't know, but something about work on, touch every single whip that you have not worked on yet this year by the end of the year. That's the idea. And I am so sorry, I have no idea whose idea it was. I feel like, because there's a couple fun things going on in the end of the year. Some people are doing 21 new starts before 2021. And then there's also this like finale 2020. I'm going to direct you to Michelle's Flosstube from Saturday, where she knows all of the details on that, or on her Instagram. She's off because she's doing both. She's doing 21 new starts and also working on all of her whips that she has not yet touched this year. I don't have very many that I have not touched because I make sure that I work on them on their birthday if they haven't already been worked on. So that's the other thing. I've already worked on Holly and Hearts this year. I'm going to work on it in December. So normally I would work on that this Thursday. I'm giving it a pass because its time is coming. All right, so that's it for plans. So I've got my 3 whips off my whip wheel, Hello Dear, full coverage, and then Stars Bright on Wednesday. So that's all for plans. Are you ready to see some goodies? If you're not into like seeing what people bought or got in the mail, then that's okay. I know some people aren't into that, but some people love me. I love to see what everybody's getting. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, so first thing I got in the mail, and this is thanks to Annie, Joy-Filled Stitcher. There was somebody that was having a de-stash on Etsy of a bunch of their yarn and knitting accoutrement. And so she filled up her cart and pinged me and was like, hey, go check it out. I did. And you'll see why I need to take a sock knitting class, because I picked up from the de-stash this sock yarn. I mean, look how bright. What is the colorway on this? Candy Shop. Yeah, that's a Candy Shop. Look how fun that is. I had a viewer, stitchy nitty friend, send me some of this type of yarn, and they said it was their favorite. They said it was their favorite sock yarn, and they sent me a couple balls. So when I saw this on the de-stash, I picked it up. I also got from their de-stash, I think the seller's name, if there's still stuff available, maybe, they did their de-stash on Etsy, and the shop name is Apron Addict. But I got this bag, and I like it because it's nice and deep. Like, you could fit, you know, probably three skeins of yarn and a project in there. So I really like this. It is by The Fawn and the Fox, Etsy and WordPress. And I just thought it was really pretty. Isn't that nice? And it's bottom box and zipper top, and I thought that was really great. So that came from de-stash. I have so much yarn this week, y'all. So much yarn. I also got my order from the Lemonade Shop. You might recall that there was a bit of a dust up because Hobby Lobby once again was at it again, like stealing from small makers, and swiped a bunch of the Lemonade Shop's colorways that they had been dying for years and years. And so everybody said, go buy from the Lemonade Shop. Okay, because look at this. Okay, so this colorway is called, I'm going to hold it up, Bleep Storm. You bet. Because look how amazing. It's this gray, and then there's just a little pop of rainbow in there. It looks like an oil slick to me. How amazing is this? I could not decide what weight I needed, so I got one fingering weight. So this is the Lemonade Shop House Sock, 75-25 superwash merino and nylon. And then I got two in DK. Oh no, worsted. This is worsted, comfy worsted weight. So I got two worsted weight. I have no idea what I'm going to make with these, but I mean, how amazing is that colorway? So let the yarn hoarding begin, apparently. Let the yarn buying begin. Okay, I have one more knitty thing, and then I will show you some stitchy things. The other thing I could not resist was my lentilla scarf is one of the Hitchhiker scarves by my Martina Bem. And the Hitchhiker, that design of hers, which is wildly popular, when I asked, after my very first knitting project, when I asked all of you lovely people, what should I knit next? So many people came back and said, Hitchhiker. It's the perfect next project, so easy, so fun. Like, so many people said I've knit like 5 of them. So I went and looked, and the lentilla is one of the variations on the Hitchhiker, but the Hitchhiker itself just had its 10th birthday anniversary. Like, it's the 10th anniversary of the Hitchhiker, and so Martina Bem put out a book of 20 knitted shawls that are all based on that kind of long, kind of triangular Hitchhiker shape. So I couldn't resist it. There are so many good things in here, y'all. There are so I want to stitch so many of them. I mean, this one. Hello, look at that. So her US distributor is Miss Babs. So I will link Miss Babs' shop below because that's where you get in the US. Otherwise, you can go to Martina Bem's site if you're in Europe, or I assume the UK. They probably ship to the UK, but the US distributor is Mrs. Babs. So I went to buy the book. This colorway here is a special 10th anniversary birthday yarn that Mrs. Babs dyed. So of course I have to get it because that, yeah, I'm gonna stitch the Hitchhiker in this, and it's gonna look just like that. Well, probably not just like that because I'll make mistakes. But this is Hitchhiker's birthday in a fingering weight. Like, look how good that is. It looks like a funfetti cake. It looks like a funfetti cake. So I got that, and then I was super close to free shipping. So I also picked up, this is it's a fingering weight in her Caroline base. This is the color pewter, but this has some cashmere in it. How much? So this is 70% superwash merino, 20% cashmere, 10% nylon. And you can feel the cashmere in it. It's so lovely. So that's what I got. And she sent this little swatch, a little 10-yard sample. Look at that colorway. It's called Coffee Break. So now, I mean, I don't know. I want a sweater in that. Don't you think? Like, look at that. It's brown and gray and blue. It would go with everything. And it is amazing. Okay. So that's it for all the knitting yarn. Are you ready to see all the stitches? I'm telling you, all of the packages came in this week. I can't even begin to. Okay, so my color and cotton October fabric of the month came in, and I get a 36 count linen, and this is corn husk. Great. I get the neutrals. I get a 36 count neutral from Color and Cotton, and this is their October corn husk. Great color. Great neutral color. Love it. It's, yeah, it's about right. Looks good. Love it, love it. Right into the fabric stash it goes. We'll get kitted up with something. I did some light kitting up this week. Very excited for the Christmas 12 days of stitching. Okay. Oh, I do have one more knitting thing. This came in from, where's her card? Card's in here. I know it is. Must be. I can't find it. Which is a bummer because I got a stitch marker from her too. I placed an order with stitching stitching the high notes, and I wonder if it's in here. That was smart of me. Okay, stitching the high notes. So wonderful craft YouTube channel that you should check out. I love her weekly studio vlogs. And I got a little pumpkin stitch progress keeper. And then she sent me this one that I think is probably her little symbol, stitching the high notes. And I ordered this bag. Look at this. I think it's called Books and Tea. Perfect. Perfection. And it's a drawstring, and I love it. See, I need to cast on some more things because I now have more bags than I have knitting projects. That seems like an issue. It's fine. It just means I need to cast on some more stuff. Okay. That I swear is the last of the knitting stuff. I also got a package from Brandy at Stitch Me. I participated in Friday Night Fight Night a couple weeks ago. I wasn't sure I was going to, but you know, when the time came, I just went to go see what she had. And she had a fabric that she was calling Martini. I had to. So this is 36 count Martini. Is that not amazing? It's like the most perfect sage green color ever. Martini. And you can't just have one martini. You have to have 2 martinis. So I got it in 32 count as well. So good. So good. And then I won one of her giveaways that weekend. And I won Coffee Obsessed by Lila Studio. I'm so excited because I've almost bought this pattern like 4 times. I really want to do it. I love it so much. And I have some brandy fabric called Mocha that it's going to be perfect on. So that came from Brandy. I also got a package from Acorns Threads. I had placed a couple orders with them. I placed one during their virtual open house and another after the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit. So some of the stuff came in, not all of it, but I said, clean out my bag and send me what you have so far. So they did. So this is the stuff that some of the things that I picked up from Acorns and Threads. I got When Santa's Away because I love these mice. I've stitched plum pudding and I have mice in the sewing room and I love these little mice. So this is new from With Thy Needle and Thread. I also got Mr. Marshmallow because, I mean, he's adorable and he's drinking hot cocoa. So there you go. I got Plum Street Samplers, Earthly Treasures. This has just been on my wish list forever and I decided it was time to buy it. And I think I ordered these from the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit because I wanted to because our guest designers were Paulette Stewart and Beth Twist, and so I wanted to get another pattern from each of them. So I got Earthly Treasures from Plum Street Samplers and Coffee Quaker because this is another one that's just been on my list for forever. It was time to at least own it. First I drink the coffee, then I do the things. Yeah. And then I had them send me some DMC that I needed for a project I want to kit up. And I also apparently had them send me some Gentle Arts. I don't know. Is it for Heartstring Samplery? I think it's for this one. I think it must be what I needed for Coffee Quaker. Because I got Ruby Slipper, Caramel Corn, and Apple Cider. So I bet I have the other ones. Or close. And there we go. So always fun to get a package from Acorns. And then, seriously, the mail came. My November So Much to Love Bag of the Month came. And it always comes with some extra goodies in it. It comes with a tea. She sent holiday chai. That looks delicious. It is not decaf, so I will drink that tomorrow, not tonight. And then we got an exclusive chart from Annie B's Folk Art called Pumpkin Pickin'. Look how cute is that truck with the little cat driving it. The cat's going pumpkin picking. And a lot of times we get, you know, a little maybe a needle minder or some other stitching accoutrement. This is so fun. Look at this cute tea towel. I love it. And it looks like it's cross stitching and maybe quilted. Like it just has that look about it. I love it. So fun. So this is going on my oven now that I've shown you. Okay, so that's what came in the bag. You want to see the bag? It is just beautiful muted colors. I love it so much. Look at those beautiful pumpkins in the muted colors with this on top, and then the inside are these pretty little fall flowers with her signature heart and rickrack. These are just always some of my favorite bags. So that is from So Much to Love. I will link her Etsy shop below. And sometimes she has extra like full bags of the month available, and then she'll list them later in the month. But she always has other bags ready to ship. So I will link her below some of my absolute favorite bags. So Much Love. Okay. And then the last thing, I finally decided I'm starting Pandemic as my New Year New Start. I'm going to start it on New Year's Eve and work on it into the new year. And I decided I wanted to start Pandemic because I downloaded it right when she released it. But I feel like we're turning a corner on this pandemic now with the news that vaccines are coming, and we all just need to be really careful and diligent and take care of ourselves and each other between now and then. This has been a very hard year for everybody. I know. But I just feel like we really just need to take these next few months and just really band together and take care of each other, and we're going to turn a corner. So New Year's Eve into the new year, I felt like was the perfect time to start Pandemic because it's been a hard year in this pandemic, but I feel like next year we're going to turn a corner and things are going to be looking better. So I've been trying to decide on fabric. And if you've been around for a while, you know I've ordered some things from Brandy thinking that that might be the fabric I wanted. And then I was, I wasn't working on this project, but I had it out for some reason. And I thought, that's it. That's the color I want for Pandemic. You know what? It's not an over-dyed fancy fabric. It's Zweigart Pearl Gray. And I had bought it at my LNS Threadneedle Street. So I called her up and I said, do you still have that? Like I bought it, you know, from her. She had it in stock last year when it's Holiday Quaker is on this. So I called her. She said, yep. And I went over and got it. They're home. So it's a good thing I'm almost done because it's time to go. And then I also picked up some threads that I needed. That's it. This is perfect timing because I'm all done. Becca says she's the guest star. Come here. Hi. She just got home from dance. How was dance?
I'm tired.
She's tired. She has a long day on Mondays. She dances from 4 to 9 with no break.
I spent over 5 hours dancing in the mask.
How did it go?
It was actually really easy.
It was actually...
So wear your mask.
Wear your mask.
Mm-hmm.
Do it for the kids.
It's not hard. I danced in it for 5 hours.
She danced in a mask for 5 hours.
You can do it too.
Well, I mean, no.
Well, maybe not the dancing, but wear
maybe
your
not
mask.
the dancing. I could not dance for 5 hours. What these kids do is amazing. So,
and I even get asthma attacks sometimes. So
Yes. So that's good because they're building up their stamina dancing in the mass, and yeah, that's awesome. So I'm just gonna leave it right there because what more is there to say other than I will see you next Monday. Cheers.